Yeah, just what were your thoughts after game one?
A lot of good and bad to take away from that game. I think the good was for 3 quarters we showed a lot of toughness. We fought back, and we consistently found ourselves in a hole, but clawed our way right back. Things to take away, things to know that we got to improve is you got to still have that same resolve in the fourth quarter. You can't have it for 3 quarters and then in the fourth, when you get down a little bit, hit a little bit more of a panic button, which I felt like we did. But just continued for 40 minutes of toughness. I think we had 32, but the game's a 40-minute game. So a lot of good in that regard. Got a lot of players in there. Got to some youngsters to get their first Division I minutes, which is big. Get that monkey off the back, maybe get some of that anxiousness out. And just a lot that we'll take away. Our team will get to watch some film here in the next couple of days, and we'll learn a lot from it.
When I asked Casey, a lot of new players for you this year. What are your thoughts on that? How are they gelling? And where do you hope you see them kind of progress?
Yeah, we do have a lot of new players for sure. And, they're working on chemistry. That's one of those things that it doesn't happen overnight, and we did not have the benefit of having our whole team here this summer. And so I think we're still working on a little bit of that, and that's to be expected at this point. Fortunately, we don't play a Summit League game until December 29th, and the reality is, of course, we want to win non-conference games, but our goal is to prepare ourselves for the Summit League, and so we're going to continue to give opportunities to young players, to new players, until we get that Summit League opportunity, and then hopefully we'll have a lot better chemistry.
Yeah, like you said, Summit League is ultimately the goal, and you don't want to look at polls and that kind of thing, but a lot of other teams are giving you the respect that you're going to be a really good contender again this year. To be in charge of a program that's starting to get that, recognition, how does that make you feel as a coach?
I mean, it's good. It's what we want North Dakota women's basketball to be highly regarded. It doesn't matter who we put on the floor. We want, as a program, to be held to a high standard, and so that is good. We have a lot of, like you said, new faces, though, that need to understand what that means and realize that there's a little bit of torch to bear at this point. The players before you may have given you that 4th place seeding, but the team sitting there now is the one that's got to earn it or surpass it.
Talking about all the new players, but of course, having this one back, what does that mean?
It helps. Anyone that watched our Wyoming game, I can tell you there's a point in that game I looked around to our bench and I just said, holy bleep, she's good. She's good. She does things every day that I think, how the heck did that just happen? And yeah, it's always going to be nice. You always have a chance to win a game with Casey on your team.
Being back Saturday, now at home, what do you see there?
It's a tough game. Grand Canyon is a really good team, and they like to create a ton of chaos. So we're going to be prepared for 40 minutes of press, 40 minutes of being trapped, and just have to constantly take care of the ball and be ready for their pressure. It's not an easy game at all. Taking care of the ball will be one of the most important things. And we love to be back in the Betty, and I can tell you, the fans of the Betty, it's going to be a tough game. This Grand Canyon team, they were down 20 points. They came back and won a huge game late in the fourth quarter at their place this last weekend, so they're a team coming in pretty darn confident, and we're a team that I think is pretty hungry.
So sort of going back to what Casey said about going up against Grand Canyon last year and about having that team that beat you and sort of having a little extra chip with it, is there anything sort of extra from your perspective trying to beat a team that beat you last year?
Well, ironically, I was watching a film of the last 2 times we played Grand Canyon, and both were at their place. I was present for neither game. So I'm excited to actually be present for a time when we play Grand Canyon. But for sure. I mean, we don't like to lose to anybody, and they've had our number the last couple times, and so it's nice to get them back to the Betty and instead of having to go down to Phoenix. And we'll make sure we have some intensity and we're prepared, but we know it's not an easy challenge.
Do you have a timeline on Kaya?
I wish. I do not. Hopefully soon, but I do not.